What's up guys, this is Balázs from Racing Brick. First of all, sorry for my voice. The flu season started and I look like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, so today you will need to miss my face from the video, hope you'll understand. I'm sure everyone saw the first part of my review with this beast. If you somehow missed it, then I suggest to watch it right now by clicking on the link in the top right corner. As I promised, here is the second part. After a few days of delay, I finally got access to the beta version of the Control Plus app with the profile for the Cat Bulldozer. I thought it's also a good opportunity for a quick comparison with the Leap Air Excavator, as these are two huge similarly priced Control Plus sets, so it is worth to compare what build and play experience you get for the same amount of money. Let's get started. When we open the profile for the Cat, there's a screen to either test the build at step 194 or to control the machine with build. I showed you a test with my custom profile in the previous video. With this one you can also go through the different functions, or at least what is built of them at that stage, and verify if it works or not. It's a good way to see if everything is built correctly so far. So what if you say that the function is not working? You don't get any specific advices for that function, just to recheck the building instructions. The other option is to drive the model. First it needs to run a calibration sequence. It takes quite some time. Apparently it runs through the full range of motion of the linear actuators, and that's not quick at all. Hopefully we won't need to run the calibration very often. At the end of the calibration there's a friendly reminder to tighten the tracks with the knobs on the side, and we can drive. I've never driven a dozer before, so I have no idea how authentic this is. I know some of you guys have more experience, so please let me know in the comments. In the bottom right corner there's a slider to set the speed, and it does not return to zero automatically, and a switch above it for forward and reverse. In the bottom left corner I have two sliders for the two tracks. Apparently these have to be used to control the steering angle. I have a joystick on the right to adjust the blade height. There's a small switch next to it. If I flip it, then the joystick does a neat little animation and turns horizontal to control the blade tilt. If you remember the first video, with the blade fully tilted back, some parts collide when we try to raise it all the way up. With the Control Plus app this won't be a problem, as tilt backwards stops way sooner than the linear actuator would allow. The obligatory horn is above the joystick. On the left side there are two switches. The first one raises and lowers the ripper. The second one, I'm sure you guessed, raises and lowers the ladder. Above these we have a red button for emergency stop. It stops the dozer immediately. In the center there's a speed gauge with a virtual speed displayed of course, a battery level indicator, and the roll and pitch angle detected by the hub. As I said, I'm not an experienced dozer operator, but these controls are quite challenging for the first few tries. There's another small switch towards the bottom. With that we can switch to the alternative controls. Here we have a joystick that gives you a much easier and intuitive throttle and steering control. In this mode the buttons controlling the ladder and the ripper are rearranged to the other side, and we lose the emergency stop button, which is not necessary anymore since the joystick returns to center automatically. I have to say this mode is much easier to control as the other one. I can only guess that it's less authentic, but definitely easier for beginners. So we know that only one function works at a time besides drive. How quickly can I operate one after the other? Let's say I start to lower the ripper, then I want to control the ladder. As you see, there's a good 4-second delay between the two functions when you can hear the gearbox being adjusted. You are pressing the button but nothing happens yet. This is the consequence of the design, but I'm not sure how intuitive and understandable will it be for the kids. If you release the button before the gearbox switches to the other function, then nothing happens. Since it's a multi-touch interface, let's see what happens if I want to use more than one function at a time. Let's adjust the blade, then try to lower the ripper. As you see, once I touch the button for the ripper, it will switch to that function. But there are weird things happening if I try this the other way around. I start with the ripper, then the joystick for the blade does not switch to the blade, it actually reverses the operation for the ripper. This can be also replicated with the ladder, and even with the buttons for the ladder and the ripper. I'm not sure if this is a bug or a feature at this point, but pretty confusing for sure. If we slide the screen to the right, there's an automated drive feature. First, we need to adjust the orientation of the dozer to match it to the real-life orientation. Then we can draw a virtual path for it to follow. It can have multiple segments, and once we execute the commands, the dozer will follow the path. We have the possibility to change the speed and also to use the emergency stop. The functions can be all operated while the dozer follows the path. Now, this feature looks nice, but I have some concerns. First of all, it would be great to see the whole path drawn, not only the previous segment, as I would like to see where did I start to be able to return there. On the other hand, if I accidentally switch back to the previous screen, my whole path and everything gets lost. There's no way to save here anything. And I think that's pretty much all. I'm not 100% sure because of the beta status, but based on my experience with the previous betas, usually all functions should be available at this stage. The set will be released in 10 days, so I won't expect anything else. Now let's compare the set with the Leaphair. The obvious first comparison is the physical dimensions. Both of them are quite massive, obviously in a different way, but you won't call neither of them small for sure. The cat is much faster. It can also turn on a carpet that is already problematic for the Leaphair and have better climbing abilities. But is it enough to beat the Leaphair? Well, let's see which one is stronger than the other. From a functional perspective, the Leaphair has 7 motors. The cat dozer has 4 motors, so while you can do many things simultaneously on the Leaphair, this is not possible on the cat. The pre-programmed path feature on the cat is okay, but the Leaphair actually offers much more. First, we had the virtual controls that are pretty nice. And there is a complex coding area where long sequences can be assembled and even saved and loaded. I know the excavator is pretty different from a dozer in regards of the possibilities, but still. I was also hoping to see the great X-ray view from the Zetros to be able to see how the gearbox in the cat works, but unfortunately it was not implemented in this profile. One thing that I don't miss, the usual pointless challenges. So, based on all this, how the two $450 Control Plus sets compare to each other? I think you already know, but the Leaphair wins for me. Although the building experience is better with the cat dozer, it is faster and climbs better. From a playability and overall value perspective, the Leaphair beats it easily. The dozer can't do much, switching between the functions is cumbersome, and although the piece count is similar, we get far less powered up components for the same price. And yeah, I still think compared to the other Control Plus and non-motorized Technic sets, the cat has an average price and the Leaphair is actually the cheap one. I could only recommend the cat dozer if you really want to have something huge and yellow with smartphone controls. But what if you want to have a bulldozer? Actually, I still have a better recommendation for that scenario, but this one will come in my next video. Make sure to smash the thumbs up button if you like this one, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell, as the next video will have a lot of dozers. See you next time, bye bye.